Hi friends, and welcome back. You saw the pork and bean video. My canner is running double decker right there with pork and beans in pints, and I needed to fill in the gaps, so I did just some beans. And right now I'm doing ground beef for the first time. I can't remember the woman's name. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm really sorry. But she said put water over it because it helps better with the grease. I figured that I took some ground beef out. I figured that I would do a couple pints. I want to say maybe this is, oh my goodness, maybe 3 pounds. But it may not even end up looking like that. So that's what I'm on to now. Canner's going, it's venting, I'm waiting for the timer. This will be 75 minutes. Because there's pork and beans, so I'm going to go for the higher one. Cooking the ground beef, then I'll strain it, and then I'll put that. I have some pint-sized jars, 1, 2, 3, 4, in the oven to get that done. I still have ground beef that's not thawed, still frozen. I have a pork loin, it's completely thawed, and I still have, let me show you. I still have this many beans left. So maybe what I was thinking, I might do maybe 2 quarts or a quart of these, see how many's left over with that ground meat, and start turning it into a chili. And I didn't touch that's the oven preheating to keep my jars warm. I haven't touched the catalini beans yet, and I have not done the dough for the cinnamon rolls. So, this is what I'm on now. It's at a full boil, so we're going to turn it off. She said just let it come to a boil, and then just strain it in a strainer. And you'll put the meat in the jars, and top it off with water. That's how she does it. I've never done it before. She just puts a little salt in there, she said, but you can add other things. She said 99% of the time she keeps it plain so that she's not limited. But you can do like Lipton onion soup mix, so it'd be like a teaspoon, I think she said, or a pint, and a tablespoon for a quart. You could do Italian seasoning. I think, me personally, I think that I'm going to leave it plain. As much as the Lipton onion soup mix sounds pretty good. I know a lot of people on YouTube don't like to can the ground beef. They say it's very ugly in a jar, but I did some because I had extra ground beef that I wanted to use up. And the way that I'm going to use this is probably for meat sauce. So let's get that drained. I just rinsed out the colander. It wasn't like a ton of ground beef, and there is my timer for my venting. So I'm going to put my little Wiggly Wiggly on there. Turn my timer off. Okay, so I have, plus my mail got here from my niece, which is a brace for my arm, and a phone case. It just doesn't have this shield part in the front. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so that was the timer because it vented for the 10 minutes. Now I put my Jiggly Wiggly on there. That's going to go for 75 minutes as soon as it comes up to pressure. We're going to drain off the ground beef, so let me turn you this way. And I'm just going to pretty much let it all, because I already have a canner that's running. The jars are staying warm, so I don't want to leave it in this for too long. But I figured when one thing gets done, I can go on to the next. And for some reason, the strainer's not draining. There we go. A lot of people will get that fat that's on the top of their jar. And this is just how she does it. I really wish I could remember her name. They're homesteaders, farmers. I don't know. There's a picture of her doing this, and she's pregnant. She has a pretty large family. If that helps you out to know who I'm referencing to. If I find it, I'll link it down in the description below. But let's get every bit of this out. And then what I'm going to do is use the same pot. I'm just going to push it out of the way. I'm going to use that same pot, I think. See, it's not a ton. But I don't think that I need a ton of ground beef in jars. I'm hoping for 4. So, as a convenience. So if I can get 4 pints, that would be good. A quart just doesn't make sense for me. So, that's where I'm at today. Same day. But I told you I'd have to split these up into different pieces. So we're going to get ready to can some ground beef in quarts. And I think that ground beef I may put in the pot and turn it into some chili maybe with what's left of the pinto beans. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But we're moving along. We're on to the ground beef now. And we're waiting on the canner that's completely full. I will show you all that when it comes out. I also wanted to make the chicken chili. So I'm a little stumped over here because that's it for the jars. Any jars that I've opened while I've been here, I've used today. Well, except quarts. I have plenty of quarts. But the pints, not so much. So, a little stumped. I'm wondering if I should cook that up and add it to this so I can can that. Then I have pork. I could probably just chunk it. And then, I don't know, my friends. I don't know if I'll actually get to the chicken today. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to get all these things done in one session before they get home. But let me show you this. I put an X on the jar. Permanent magic marker. It's right there. And to see the difference from the previous video. And it's just a little siphoning. That's all that happened to it. The rest of these look absolutely gorgeous. And now, like I said, in here is the whole bottom's pork and beans, couple pork and bean on the top, straight up plain beans. I think it's the rest. And then we're going to go in, I think, and can this up. Even if I have to put it in a larger mason jar, because I definitely want to do, I have to wash these too. I definitely want to do the chicken chili. And I don't have the recipe written out. So maybe I'll throw that in the pan and get that cooking to add it to this. So I have a little bit more for a few pints. That's what I think I'm going to do with that. I'm not going to bother making regular chili because lately when I cook, they don't eat it anyway. So I'm going to use this and put that meat in there. And we're going to get that cooking to add it with this so we can some ground meat. I'm just going to call it Ugly Jar. It's like when I did chicken legs. It looks so unappealing. But again, my reason why I want some ground meat pressure canned is for meat sauce. No matter where I'm at. You could just open it, dump it in, and just turn it into a protein and meat to go over to some type of pasta. So yeah, let's do that. Let's get the big pack of meat in here and get that cooked up. Okay, so I'm just going to dump this right in. I'm going to put that on low because it's mainly thawed, but not fully. So, let's turn this on. I went outside real quick to get some fresh air because if you know, best time to can is the winter time. The heat has not popped on once since I did my one canning session. So we're going to just let that go in there and I'll start chopping it up once the pan heats up And we're going to add it to that, and we're going to pressure can it. So maybe this video will be just pressure canning ground meat for the first time, but I'm freeing up room in the downstairs freezer. So, hang tight. Okay, so I started cooking it up. I just went over it with hot tea kettle water. So I'm just breaking it down. And this will go in with the other pile of meat to pressure can some ground meat. So, and the canner is at pressure, so now I have to set my timer. Okay, I set my timer for my, now that it's up to pressure. Let's take a look at it. Looking pretty good. Previous video, it was leaking a little bit of water, so I restarted it, and I haven't had any problems with it. I'm just trying to bust this down a little bit. I was just telling my girlfriend that she wanted to know why I'm doing ground beef, and I said so that I can just open it up and make some quick meat sauce. So I'm just following that woman's directions, trying to break it down a little bit more. And I will leave her channel name down in the description if I can re-find her. I'm not sure. I don't know, I'm just a little stumped. I think when I go to put this in the canner, I'm putting in pork. Seasoned pork. That's what I think I'm going to do with the pork. And then I still don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the pinto beans. I think I have some pinto beans downstairs already canned. So, okay, we're going to let that come to a quick boil, and then I'm going to strain it. I was just thinking, one of the things I could do is a little ground beef and beans in a jar. I just can't get to my sauce out in the garage, because that would have been pretty good. I mean, I could probably go over it with hot water, but you can strain that off, and you can do burrito, do you know what I mean? Like a beef quesadilla with maybe some of those pinto beans and some beef. What do you think? I guess I'll be surprising you on what I do with the rest of those pinto beans. Okay, I'm getting ready to turn this off, and I'm going to drain it. She said when you put water over it like this, it removes the fat better. So, okay, let's get it strained. Okay, so I know when channels are doing a full canning day, which all these videos are going to be done in the same day. If you saw my video on the ginger and lemon probiotic, good for your immune system, I found 4 little jam jelly jars. I've been very busy today. I've done the bathroom, I've washed Jean's hand towels and the sink towels, and I've just been running around like a goof, just maybe not all of it in the kitchen. And I could be making the dough for the cinnamon rolls, but I still have beans in it. So now that I have these 4 jars and they're clean, and I gave this a really good shake, I want to take a sip of it first, but I want to put some in these 4 jars. Let's see what it tastes like today. I haven't even eaten yet today. Ooh, potent. What I'm going to do is I am going to raise you a little bit. Let's see if I can not spill. You want to leave some head space if you're going to put these in the freezer. So, that's a little bit more than a shot, but glad that I found these, because I really don't like having a full quart-size jar of it. We'll wipe that off. Let me go a little bit less. I've never really had something expand in the freezer, but this I want to be super careful with. So, I have some older rings. Things written on them. I think I need one more. Let me look in my bag for one more lid. Okay, I found one more lid. It is so windy here. It's just craziness. And I'm just going to put these on. I want to have at least 4 in the freezer. If I had more, I mean, I do have the next size up from this. And I definitely wanted to freeze a few of them. So, I figured I could get that done as well. So figure, this one's like a double shot. It's still tasting pretty harsh. Oh yeah, but it's only been a day or two. So I'm hoping that it gets the way the turmeric and the ginger does, and it mellowed out once it went into the fridge. I haven't had my sip today, and when you pull it out, this is the ginger turmeric with lemon. You're gonna have to give it a shake. You'll have to shake up this too, in case I didn't say that in the video. Just give it a good shake. And then I'm going to take my sip of this today, since I'm having a very busy day in the kitchen. But this mellowed out, because the day that I made it was horrible. Yeah. It absolutely has a little bit of a woodsy bite in the back of your throat. But definitely tastes way better than day one when I made it. I'm just waiting for the ginger and lemon to kind of mellow out and do the same thing. So, let me wipe this off. You can hear things whacking the windows and everything here. The winds are terrible. I did have a video from when the power went out, but I decided to not post it and remove it so that I could make more room on my phone for a big day of canning that I would probably have to break into different videos. Okay, so now I have those 4 that I can put into the freezer. For a later date down the road. The one that's in the refrigerator, I'm going to try to just drink that every day. So now I just got another thing off my list. Even though I've been running around like a chicken with no head. So I'm going to go take these down and put these in the freezer. And the canner is doing fine. It's holding pressure where it should be. And I have to go check my timer, and then we'll move on to the ground beef. Okay, they're down in the freezer, and I have 21 minutes left on this canner. And something that just dawned on me was the ground beef is going to have to be re-warmed up. So like hot beef, hot jar, you know, hot canner, well, warm canner, warm jar. My jars are in the oven. I'm just going to have to warm up the ground beef. And we're going to get started with putting up some ground beef as a convenience meal. Okay, so I have 15 minutes left on the timer. I just checked. And I think what I'm going to do now, turn it around this way, I washed that pot and put it back where I got it. The one that I used for the ground beef. I will use a different pot to re-warm it up. Like I said, jars are in the oven. Let me just re-rinse this even though I washed it. I can't get to any more of my sauce jars out in the garage because Mr. Tom Tom has a bunch of stuff piled on top of the tote. Okay. Because I would have used up the rest of those pinto beans, that pork, and would have just made it pork and beans. But since I do have, I don't know if you saw that video where I did tomato paste and froze it in like little scoops. I mean, I could melt it down, but who wants to be bothered with all that? So I think I'm going to do some seasoned pork. And I have to warm up the beef. So I'm going to warm the beef up in this so that I have a hot jar. I have hot beef, warm jar, warm canner. Let's try to get this in here. And I filled up my electric tea kettle, but I will turn it on again because you pour water over this, which I would have never thought that in a million years, but that's how she did it. So I'm just trying to be uber careful. I've already refreshed the kitchen, washed things, emptied the drain board, put things away, fed the dogs, cleaned the bathroom like I said. I have been very busy. Not just in the kitchen. Let's get all this out of here. This is going to have to be scrubbed because it definitely feels greasy, the colander. And I'm going to put this on the stove. And I'm not going to turn it on right this split second. I'm going to wash the colander first. So I just have the ground beef in this pot. And I have it on super duper low. It's starting to get pretty warm. I'm just tossing it around in any big chunks. I'm busting it up because I don't want this to stick to the bottom of the pan. I have my debubbler clean, funnel clean. I turned the lids back on. I'm just keeping an eye on this because I want this, the jar, and the canner to be the same temperature. First time ever canning ground beef. Today might be a day where it's the first time for a lot of things. First time ever canning pork and beans. I've canned beans before, that's not a problem. I just checked on the chicken. All the chicken that I took out is not thawed out yet. So, I know Jean has work tomorrow morning. I think she's off on Monday. So, between tomorrow and Monday, which it feels amazing in here. This is the best time to pressure can. It's feeling nice in this kitchen. The heat hasn't popped on once, and it is so cold and windy here. But anyway, between tomorrow morning and I think Monday, I'm going to do the chicken and turn that into chicken chili, even though I talked about it 5 times. So yeah. I may have cooked the beef up a little in advance, but I'm trying to stay on top of everything. So what's going to go in next? Ground beef and pork. So I've done pork before. I know I've done it in quart size. We'll see how many pints I have. And I might do some plain pork, maybe some barbecue pork. Usually when I do pork, cold jar, it makes its own liquid. So that's what I'm up against here. Because I can either, this is already cooked, but then I have to pour hot water over it. So you can tell I'm not like, I've been pressure canning for years. That's not true at all. I started pressure canning about a year ago, and I'm still learning. So I don't know if I'm going to add liquid to the pork. I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to season it, put it in, and pressure can it for the same amount of time I'd be doing the beef. So this is just about done, and then I just have to wait for it to come down in pressure, We're going to take all these jars out, and you'll see how I did. Cross your fingers, that everything comes out good. Like I said, pork and beans, beans with tomato sauce, and no pork, and then just, I think, some straight beans. So, that is a double-decker. That is my first time I've ever had enough pints to do a double-decker in my Presto. So, I'm going to keep my eye on this because I don't want this to stick to the bottom of the pan. And we're almost there to get this beef finally pressure canned. And some pork. I went to walk away from the camera to go check my timer and literally just had this thought of what about some pork, some catalini beans, and some of the, oh geez, pinto beans. Maybe a jar of that mixed together. I don't know exactly what that would taste like, but that's just a thought that I had. My mind. It is what it is, my friends. There is the timer. Amen. Let's turn that off. I just pulled out 2 quart-sized jars as a just in case for the beans. If I want to throw it in the next canning session. Let me go turn the timer off. Okay, so this is starting to get hot. I don't know if you can see that steam. You can hear it sizzling over the canner. I'm really trying to be careful not to scald the beef to the bottom of the pan. I'm just trying to rewarm it back up. I'm so glad that canner is done. I am a very persistent person and very diligent. Okay, I just took the Jiggly Wiggly off the pressure canner because it stopped, and now I'm just going to crack this and not take them out right away. Now, careful with the steam. I like to leave it cracked a little bit. Do you hear this sizzling? I've literally been standing here. Look at that. None of it's sticking to the bottom. I have been constantly flipping it, turning it, so that we can move right on to the next canning. Okay, so that's done. They were warmed up. That's done. Jars are in the oven. The only problem I foresee is over there. Hopefully I have enough room for all the other jars. If not, I'll put some over on the other counter. Jean knows me well enough. I clean up after myself, but may need some more room. So I'm just going to take my Jiggly Wiggly and stick it back there for a minute. Take a little peek. See how things look. Okay. My goodness gracious. Here we go. And this burner is still warm, obviously, so I don't want it to stick now. They say if you open it right up without giving it a couple minutes, that can cause siphoning to some of your jars as well. Tea kettle water is boiled. Okay. Let's grab these. Let's not get a steam burn. And let's take the lid all the way up. I'm just going to set it in the opposite side of the sink. And let's start taking out jars, shall we? What I want to do is pull this canner back forward so I don't hit the microwave, which is right underneath of it. So hopefully you can see me taking them out, and then I'll show you what the jars look like. I did not label the ones that didn't have pork in it, but that looks great. Like I said, a few of these on the top are just going to be, some will be pork and beans, some will be the rest of the sauce with just beans with no pork. good so far, my friends. There's a little bit on this top rack. Little red. So I'm not going to be uber concerned about it. And this one here is 1 jar of Catalini beans that were only soaked. Now, let's see if I can get this up. And you'll see what I mean. It has some sauce on it. I'm going to put it right into the sink. Spray it off real fast with hot water. Quick little zhoosh. So that it doesn't end up staining it. Okay, there definitely is some siphoning. I don't know if it's coming from the ones on the top or the bottom. And I hope I have enough room on this towel. Look at how beautiful it looks. And I'm glad to get that big can of sauce gone. We have some pinging action. You might have to put another towel, older one, right on this other section so I can put down some more jars. It's not going to stain it, but just hoping to be able to fit them all. So my jiggly wiggly there. Make a few finer adjustments so everything fits. Because these have to fit. I'm just making a little room. Okay. Now let's move this one up. Okay. Let's get the rest out, shall we? This one has a lot on the lid, but I think that's coming from what was up above. Always wash my canner right out. If it has any type of greasy siphoning like that. These look beautiful. Pinto beans, pork and beans, and 1 jar of, make sure I'm not too close to the edge, 1 jar of Catalini beans that were just overnight soaked. Let's get this last jar out of here. And I will show you the siphoning. There it is. Maybe that's not too bad. But look at, let me untangle my cord. Look at all the gorgeous jars. Why am I doing all this, you might say? Because I will not be permitted to stay here after March the 1st. January, February, March. Yes. So I'm trying to have some convenience items to add to my other convenience items in some pint jars. Also, I'm trying to free up the freezer with some meats. So this month is going to be a lot of canning. And I'm still doing some packing. So let me get that cleaned out. Okay, I just washed it out. I'm going to dry a little bit of the outside off. I used hot soapy water, and then I always go in with cold and rinse it out completely. And this is still on the meat, So we are on to the next project. And hopefully, I think this might be the last project of the night because I have to eat and I would like to relax and then I have to keep canning some more. And you can tell as soon as the canner stops, it gets chilly willy in here. Okay. See the steam? So nobody can come at me and say it wasn't the right temperature. So, I've had that happen to me before. I'm going to go in with a rack. 3 quarts of water, the usual steps. And I want to take 1 jar out at a time. Now to toss up of what am I eating for dinner. Ooh, we got a ping, yay! I didn't can a thing all summer because nobody wants to can when it is scorching hot out. You don't want to heat the house up. I'm going to go in with a little dash more because the one wasn't filled all the way. Okay. And then we are going to put this on 3. Here we go, baby. Okay. Let me get a little organized very quickly. And let's start doing, I'll turn you this way. I have to go get the tea kettle. We're going to start doing the ground beef. Okay, I have my hot tea kettle. Again, I was thinking, I probably shouldn't think. She definitely poured water over it. So I'm assuming when you go to use it, you just drain it off. I don't know, that's confusing. I called my friend Pam to ask her a question. I think she said it's Family Homestead that I got this meat ground beef recipe from. So I had a different question as well, but I love Pam. All right, let me aim to that. Let's get a jar out. Tea kettle water's hot. I'm going to use a slotted spoon. I think that might be a little easier. So the meat is hot. Pressure canner water's coming up. I don't know how many pints of this I will get. And there was no specifics on how much ground beef to add. So I'm going to say maybe 3 spoonfuls, maybe. Let's try that. And I'm going to, oh, I hope you can see that. And then I'm going to debubble it. So this is where my meat level is at right there. All right, so let's go in with some hot water. And I thought she packed it down a little bit, though. All right, that's not too bad, actually. 3 scoopfuls. And then you have to debubble it, obviously. And we will wipe it off with vinegar. So I think 3 spoonfuls, this size spoon, slotted spoon, maybe 3.5, and I think that will be perfect. Okay, let me wipe this one off. The headspace didn't even go down much, so I don't know. I've never did ground meat before, so I wanted to debubble it again, and it's literally like right there. I just need a drop. Okay, vinegar, wipe it off. We're gonna get the same process that I did before, and I'm gonna put it in the canner to come up together. I actually had a pork question for her, because I know how to raw pack pork. Ooh, that is hot, mamacita. Okay, we're gonna sit it in the canner. Let me turn that burner off. Let's grab another jar. Coco Chanel, you're going to have to move. My dog is like right at my feet. I don't want her to get hurt. So let's see. 2, 3 and a smidge. Hot water. We might have to adjust this headspace on this one. Okay, so what I learned from him, basically you could use broth or you could do the boiling water that I'm doing, and then you would just drain off any of the liquid when you're ready to use it. I am doing it so that I can crack open a jar and make some quick meat sauce. Okay. Fingertip tight. And let's grab another jar. Don't have a ton of the pints out in the oven, so I might have to wash some more. We shall see. So I'm doing 3 spoons. If any falls, my dog will appreciate it. So I am trying a lot of new things. Totally out of my comfort zone. But how are you going to learn unless you try it? Okay. Doesn't look the most appealing, but that's okay. So a January going on all month. I'm not doing it for January, not all of this. I'm doing it as convenience food. Because I don't know, let me use a pot holder, where I'm going yet. So, it looks, is it right to say it looks gorgeous? But it kind of does. I might get more out of this than I actually thought. That is a chunk. I know a lot of people do not like ground meat, the looks of it in the jar, but headspace looks good. Oops. Okay, now I'm down to, after this jar, ouch, one more that's in the oven. So, I have 6 over in the case that I might have to wash. Now, she said you could season it with whatever you want. I'm going to do this jar and the last jar that's in the oven with some taco seasoning. So, I don't want to forget. Let me pull this out. And I'm just going to write taco seasoning right on it. So these last 2 will be taco. The other ones I should have added some salt. You don't have to. You can flavor it as it comes out. Okay, so this one here is for taco. I'm going to do teaspoon of taco seasoning. I grabbed a pack when I was at the store. You grab a teaspoon. That's a pint. And then we're going to mix it in. So that 2 of these jars will be taco. A little bit more. Hopefully you're seeing everything okay. And the next one will be taco. And most likely, this is what I have left over here. We'll see. If I'm going to use any more pints, or I might have to go on Walmart, as I call Wally World, and order. Even though I really can't afford to be doing that, I may have to order some more of these pint-sized jars. That wasn't even a full scoop. Or I just might need one more pint. And then what I have left is pork and beans to figure out what I'm doing with. Because I tried to think this through and take everything out of what I wanted to can. Just my chicken isn't thawed out. So I have to write taco on one of these lids. Let me grab my magnet. Get one out. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to write taco right on it. Taco seasoning. After these get washed, all these jars, I will write the date on there. You could do it in advance. I didn't do that. And that banging you hear is the wind. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there. Okay, let me wash a couple more jars. I actually miscounted. I have one more. I could wash this one if need be. But let's see. Okay, this is going to be my last jar. I'll push that down because there's a little bit in here that I'm not going to waste. And that is the ground beef. Done. Let me see. I could have 1, 2, 3, 4 plain and 3 taco seasoning. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So, let's debubble this really well. We're going in taco seasoning again. Teaspoon. Just mix it in, give it another debubble. You do know I'm dog sitting today, and that would happen to be my dog, Sophia, that's barking. So let's wipe this off. Recheck our headspace. Needs like a drop or 2, which is about what I'm going to have in this tea kettle. So I will refill that up. And yay! Okay, let me write taco seasoning on this one as well. Well, it's going to say half taco seasoning because the marker doesn't want to write on the part that's still damp. Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. I have 3 taco seasonings, 3, 4, 5, wait a minute, 3, 4, 5, 7 in there. And I might do some pork in the last of these pints. I'm not really sure. Let me clean this mess up right here. Okay, so I refreshed, I cleaned up. This is what I think I'm going to do. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pints in the bottom of the canner. I still have a pork loin to do. So I think I'm going to take some of these tomato paste balls. I am going to just put some in a pot. That's what I think I'm going to do. I'll just use this pot because I'm coming down to the end and I don't want to waste the pork, and I still have some leftover beans. So 1, 2. Okay, I'm using that baggie of tomato paste balls. I'm going to add some hot water into it. And I'm going to make a sauce for the pork and beans. So, I would have to get the fat off the beans. Fat off the pork. And I had the tea kettle boiling back there. So I'm going to turn this on high and start bringing that to a boil. It's tomato paste, so I'm going to season it up a little bit. Because this is how many beans I have left. It's not a huge amount, but it's still a good bit. And I might leave 2 cups out of this to make something during the week. So, that's that. And let me get my knife. We are going to get started. With the pork. I washed everything down on this section. I think it's going to be more maybe pork than beans. I'm not really sure. I'm winging this part. This is a boneless pork loin, and I wasn't sure if I should just put it in a quart and put it in the canner with the pints. I just wasn't sure, so I'm almost done again. Let's see what I could figure out. So I am going to trim a good bit of this fat off. Let me think here. I'm going to cut it like this, and then I'll take more fat off if necessary. I'm just going to make big chunks out of it for right now. I washed up all the last of my pint-sized jars, and I think that's what I'm going to do with the last of this. Let me see. I don't know if this will be easier. So the beans that were soaked, pork, and I still have to season the tomato paste just a little bit. They're nice, they're not sharp. And I'm not going to be uber particular. Okay, that's starting to boil. Maybe like, whoop, we got another ping. maybe like a quarter cup of beans, or, okay, I'm waiting for this tomato paste to melt down. But this might have been a fabulous idea to be able to use up. Go in here with some, let me show you. Busy day today. Okay, let me get some seasoning. Garlic. And I say onion powder. Should be just fine. And just a dash or two, 1, 2, of salt. And this, hopefully, will be enough to wrap this project up. See, it's not completely melted yet. And I have more tomato paste out in the garage. That I do know where it is. But there's some more pork and beans, or more pork and a little less beans. So that's good to go. What I'm going to do is, since it's going to be a pint, 2 pieces of pork, maybe, or 3 pieces of pork in each pint-sized jar, with some of the pinto beans. So I'm going to continue to trim off some of this fat, let that simmer, and then we're going to get this in the canner. Okay, I have my hands washed. The pork is done. Let me back you up and raise you up. And let's see if we can pull this off. We'll see how it goes. So let's get a jar out. It's almost going to be like what I did earlier, I guess. Pretty much. Oops, gotta grab the tea kettle. I thought about, what about like taco pork and beans? Interesting. All right, so let's go the same way I did earlier, but I have to eyeball this correctly. Let's see. Washed my funnel, washed my debubbler, jar is hot. I'm just gonna go in with, it still has some pieces, aren't completely done yet. And then I want to go in with 1, 2, 3. That's what I think I want to do. And then this is only a 1/4 cup of bean, like measuring thing. I'm going to do 1, 2. That's it. That's what I'm doing with the beans. And then I'm going to go in some taco seasoning. Cover this up. Debubble. So it'll have 3 pieces of pork in it with taco seasoning. I'm not going to do them all with taco seasoning, but some. So that I can use this for like a quesadilla or something along the lines of that. want to debubble it again. Yeah. You hear banging, it's the wind. Some rubber piece on the door, the wind got, and now it just keeps banging it. I wanted to put taco pork on this. Let's see what I did with the marker. Taco pork. Okay. And it's going. And I'm going to use my other tray on the top. I'm going to turn off that sauce. I'm going to pull out another jar, which after this one leaves me 3. Okay. I'm going to do like 1.5 in that one. 3 pieces of pork. This might be the last one that I do with taco seasoning. Space. And we're going to write, and then I will do the last 3. I won't bore you to death. Just gonna write taco pork. Now, if I took one of them out of the bottom, I could actually fit a quart in here, but I don't know. I'm doing the best that I can do. Woo. All right, one more together. We're going to wrap this up. We are going to get this in the canner. One, 2, 3. I think that pork, some of the pieces were a little bit bigger. We're going to mush it all around, stir it all up. I'm not going to put no taco seasoning. Top off the head space, wipe it, and what do I have left? 2 jars. I might have leftover cubes. I might. Canner's on low, so it's keeping these all warm. Okay, let me finish the last couple jars. Okay, this is what I decided. I'm using 1 smallmouth quart, and I will put that on the bottom, and I'll run it for the longer time because I have a little bit more pork. And let me turn that off. No more No more pint-sized jars in the oven. So this one may be a little pork heavy. I'll write it right on the lid. But you can't go wrong with pork, just even like this. I'm just trying to decide. I think I'm going to go in with a different bean this time around. So I'm going to do one. I'm going to mix it. Catalini, pinto, Catalini, and one more pinto, and that should be it. Let's check it out. Let's give this a mix. We'll have to fix the headspace, of course. Go in with more here. So this will be pork and 2 different types of beans. I should write pork heavy and then 2 different types of beans. And that is completely debubbled. Fix the headspace. We are at the end, my friends. Okay. One more. Lid. Ring. I think I will write on this, so let me dry this top part off. Heavy pork, 2 beans. Okay. This one's going down here on the bottom. Run it for the longer time. Now let me turn you around this way and show you what I have going on here. So I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the pints, 1 quart in the middle. I hope this works. If not, that would stink because I don't want to run the canner just for 1 can. I've never done this before. Let's see. And then we'll go in. That quart, that may not work. You must understand. I'm a newbie. Let me think. Let me see something. Sometimes you have to figure it out on your own. Might help if I line this correctly. I want to make sure. Okay, now I can't get it lined up. Let me line this up and then I'll know if it works or it's not going to work. I'm just going to guess and say no. Probably not going to work. Ouch, 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 ouch. So let's go in with the rest. And I will have this 1 quart-sized jar. And I don't even know if it would work. If you know if it would have worked, let me know down in the comments. Never make fun of someone that's new at this. But I'm having trouble getting my lid on now. So maybe it would have worked with the 1 quart. All right, I think the night is getting long. Hold on. Okay. Literally. The arrow to my pot was over here. Oh my goodness gracious. It happens. Let's get these in here. This is on. And now let's put the lid on. So that only leaves me that 1 quart. It looks beautiful. And if you hear dogs barking. But I had this, like I had to turn the whole pot around. I was like, what in God's name am I doing wrong? Bingo. Okay. This is in. Turn it up a little tiny bit. I'm going to clean up my mess. And I guess I will show you what this looks like when it comes out of the canner. My goodness, I feel so silly. I didn't even have the lid on right. And it is locked. Okay, so I have this one beautiful jar left. We'll see what happens. If the chicken was to thaw, I could can that tomorrow, but I'd have to get up really early. And I've been at this most of the day today. Not just canning, but doing all sorts of things. So, okay, it's in there. We're going to let this come up to temperature. Jiggly Wiggly's right here. And now I'm going to clean up. Bring you back. Okay, so that's not exactly streaming out steadily yet. So I don't have that on the timer. But I wiped off the stove. There's my 1 jar. Wiped down the counters. There's no dishes. That bowl's washed. And I decided the last of the pinto beans that were in that bowl. I have some Wagyu beef, and I'm probably going to make chili. Those beans, I'm going to dump the water out, add cold water. Hopefully the chicken will be thawed tomorrow. And I'll be bringing you back either tomorrow or Monday, and we will be doing the white chicken chili. And I just have to put that in the recyclables, but it's windy. But everything's all cleaned up. And I'm just going to wait for that to do a steady stream. And then I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. But pretty productive day. I have to put the bacon in the fridge. And I need to figure out what I'm going to eat. So let me check this. Okay, it's a steady stream now, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to set. Okay, the canner is finally done. It's going to be all I'm doing for the rest of the night, because this has been my day. Plus I cracked it open and left it sit for a few minutes. So let's take a look, and let's hope everything turned out. And if you hear anything, that's Thomas and Jean. Looks beautiful. So let's get these off the top. Get this out of here. Cleaned everything up, so I gotta get this out of here. Sorry, I forgot to turn my notification bell off. Here's the ground meat. Looks good. Taco seasoning one. The meat looks great. So 3 taco seasoning mixes are in the ground beef. at least. Bubbling away. Okay. Let me show you everything that I got done. So this is what I took out. And let me see. 35 jars in total. Ground meat, pork and beans, all sorts of yummy goodness. Look at that. Piping hot. They're all bubbling. Ground meat looks really good. Just doesn't look gross like some of the people I've seen do it. I mean, I guess it could end up changing as it sits, but plain. And then taco seasoning. Catalini beans and all pork. Oh, my other quart-sized jar I'm going to save for when the chicken thaws. The heavy pork one. But ground meat looks great. And yeah, this is everything that I got done today. So, that's it for the canner. Until either tomorrow or the next day. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. Not too bad on the siphoning this time. I think it has a lot to do with leaving. Of course, I'm talking quieter. I always tend to do that when they're here. I think it has to do with when I quick open the lid, but this time I left it sit a little bit longer and it's not that bad. So these will all sit and then I'll wash them tomorrow. Check the lids. These all popped, but you won't officially know until you take the ring off. So, looks amazing. Looks really, really good. And they're sticky, of course. Looks great. But a lot of things I've done today I've never done before, like pork and beans. You could see a little grease right there. That's what that is. And these two are the ones with the taco seasoning. There's 3 of them. So everything that I did today besides that can of beans was new for me today. Pork and beans was new. I've done pork before, cold packed, and ground beef. So they're bubbling away. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. I wanted some pork and beans, some convenience foods, and I wanted some ground meat so I could turn it into meat sauce as a convenience. So, love yous all. If you're new here, maybe think about subscribing. Would love to have you. And that's a lot of canning. Even if January is going on, that's a lot of canning I did today. And now I have the chicken. Wait, let me think. Chicken chili that I want to do. I still have to do the cinnamon rolls. So still lots more recipes and definitely more canning videos coming your way because I'm freeing up the freezer downstairs. So I'm glad everything turned out. No broken jars. I'm quite happy with how I spent my time. So again, if you're new here, think about subscribing. Make sure you leave me a comment. What do you think? How did I do? And I will see you, my friends, on the next video. I hope you have a blessed rest of your weekend. Bye, friends.